Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. I want to talk to you briefly on the subject matter addiction. This is a unique kind of addiction, though. It's the addiction of the human race. I once had a friend. We went to high school together, and as we grew up, we used to frequently drink a little alcohol when we go to a movie or when we wanted to be more mature than we really are. We wanted to let some of the training, the things that would prevent us from being free as we wanted to be, we indulge in it. So that stuff that we would taught not to do, we would do, and it was okay. And that was basically our drug throughout high school. I remember when we went to college, we both went to the same college, and we met a guy from Chicago. We went walking through the woods, just talking about our situations, his situations, and he mentioned something about a doobie, a joint, a marijuana joint. And up until that point, we had never seen a marijuana joint in our lives. And it was interesting. And we began to smoke it. And as we smoked it, we found ourselves relaxed and laughing and having so much fun, it was absolutely pathetic. That was that first introduction to smoking marijuana. And we continued to smoke marijuana for years. And we told ourselves that marijuana was great. It was God-given. And it gave us a chance to be free. You know, they say marijuana is a mind-altering drug, and it indeed is. Because we as human beings, or as we as kids, he and I, just keep it to us, we've basically been programmed as we see all human beings are. And we find ourselves going along with things, whether we like it or not, just going along with it. But when we indulged ourselves smoking marijuana, it gave us the courage, the understanding that we didn't have to go along with it. We could stand up against what it was. Sometimes it didn't actually give us courage enough to take positive, corrective action, but it at least made us aware of what was going on. That's what addiction is probably about. There are people who move on from alcohol, from marijuana to cocaine and crack, and it's the same thing, trying to find an escape from a way of life that we are not satisfied with. And we become addicted to it. Not only do we become addicted to illegal drugs or illicit sex, sometimes we become addicted to prescription drugs, something that takes away our pain, that makes us feel a little bit better, and we get used to it, and we prefer it than what the truth is. I say this because having spent so many years feeling free, but not living free, and trying to live free by reaching out to human beings and trying to tell them that there is a better way of life, a life that each of us seeks so desperately, a life of peace, a life of prosperity, a life of joy. We all seek that. And for some strange reason, I was revealed the solution to it. And I walked around, I talked to people who were on drugs, prostitutes, everybody who you might find doing some illegal stuff. Not saying it's wrong, but it's illegal. And I found no one that could embrace where I came from, my approach. Then I went to a group of people who say they love God, the church, the preachers. They talk about God's love, how wonderful God's love is, so much that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever would believe in him might not perish, but have an everlasting life. I went to these people who were told that, yes, there's sin in the world, but greater is he that's in them than he that's in the world. These people who were told that they were love letters to a darkened world, that they were a light to be set on a hill so others could see. Oh, I talked to them about really acquiring these adjectives that were applied to them. I talked to people who believe that God was so magnificent that He has a heaven built for them, a place to give them comfort and peace and this prosperity and joy that I speak of after they die. And I would tell them that this is possible now. And I could find no one until this date, ladies and gentlemen. I have talked to people who have said, yes, I want peace, I want prosperity, I want joy. But when you speak to them about doing what is required to get it, none have been able. And the ones that I have perceived as being able to do it, who were actually standing up, have all been slaughtered, have all been murdered, assassinated, whatever your term you want to use. And they've gone on. But I believe like them, I know like them, but I don't just want to go on. I want to see a path made for not just my children, but all of our children. Not just for my parents, but for all our parents. I want to see peace in my lifetime. I want to see us being prosperous. In other words, what I want to share, I can't trust that someone else will, even though they will. But I must focus on right now. And what I have discovered is that the human race is addicted. And that drug that they are addicted to is a way of life. Now, I don't know if the Bible is true in all of its setup. In fact, I'm convinced it's not. But there was a lie that was told, it says in the Bible, in the beginning. And we have talked about apples and this and that. But the truth of the matter is, based upon what has come out of this reality, is that human beings have been told that they are better than others. That's the only thing that I can see that would keep us divided. Believing that I'm better than someone else, or someone else believing that they're better than me. And we buy into it. And we can never come to grips. We can never come to a medium. We always have to think that we're better. And we're constantly told that. We say our nation is better than another nation. They're told the same thing. We are told that our race is better than another race. They're told the same thing. We're told that our gender is superior to another gender. They're told the same thing. We're told that our sexual persuasion is better than the persuasion of another. People all over the world are told these things, things that would keep us divided. We have been told that one child is better than another child in the same family. We are constantly told that somebody is better than another. The president was talking, he wanted to make our educational system and the people who come through the educational system so magnificent and so great in number that it out exceeds that of any other nation. Still talking about being better. And yet, in the Bible, it tells us in the 25th chapter of Matthew, somewhere around the 30th or 31st verse, that there was going to come a time, and I'm paraphrasing now, that the master of the universe was going to come down and draw all its people before. And a decision would be made. They would separate the good people from the bad people. The people who were in tune to the ways that the divine would have us be, from those who weren't. And the measuring stick would be how we treated one another. How we treated one another. It says that to some who were set on the right and on the left, say, come to me, because I got a place that's wonderful for you. Because when I was down and out in every way you can think of, you had some assist for me. And they say, well, when do we do this? He says, whenever you did it to anyone, to the least of these, you did it unto me. That means everybody. Everybody that you can affect. Maybe the ones in your household, the one next door, the one in another city, another state, another nation. When you did it, when you stood up for them, you stood up for me. And I love you for it. And the others, he would say, come to me, and when I was in need, you didn't recognize me. You did nothing for me. And these folks said, wait a minute, I gave to charity. I fed the food shelves. I did this, I did this. So when did we dishonor you? He said, when you dishonored the least of these, any of the least of these, you dishonored me. If you were white, you dishonored me when you didn't like blacks. When you were black, and you dishonored me when you didn't like whites. When you were men, you dishonored me when you thought you were superior to women. So on and so forth. When you made people kings and queens to be superior to one another, popes to be superior to one another. All of these things you did to divide yourselves. All of these things you did to deny yourselves the fruits of the life and the abundance of life that I have prepared for you. And I'm thinking to myself, it goes right back to that lie. You are better than they are. This is the only way an evil one or an antichrist could get the support of human beings and supposedly of angels, was to tell them, you are better than the others. So you come over here with me, and I will prove to you that you are better than others. And in the process of doing it, exploitation takes place. You start doing everything to hurt people just so you can see the truth in the statement that's made that you are better than others. Now I understand why after all of these years, while I've gone out to churches, when I've gone out to the preachers, when I've gone out to politicians, when I've gone out to the lay people, when I've gone out to the simple people in the street and told them that we could have our dreams to come true right here today. All we had to do was make the decision and follow it. And they couldn't do it because they are addicted to the lie that some are better than others. And we're getting ready 3 years from now to have another presidential election. And you know what it's founded on? We say politics, but it's not founded on politics. It's founded on this, that some are better than others. And you're going to have some on one side and some on the other side. But their only vote is to prove that they are better than the other side. And the nation and all of its people loses. But will you listen to me? Will you make a change and say, this invisible power that created this universe, everything above it, on it, and in it, including us, and gave us the capacity to do the things that we do, will you say that perhaps that is a better way? And let us try it by saying that we will do unto others as we would have others do unto us. And let that be our expression of our maturity, of our growth. We won't be divided, but we will come together as one. Will you say that? You say, well, who you going to vote for? Who's talking to you? Bye-bye.